Hi, I'm Tom Scarpello of Revology Cars, and this is car number 221, a 1968 Shelby GT500KR in Wimbledon White with dark blue LeMans stripes and navy Nappa leather interior. Today I'm going to take you on a walk around of this car and we're going to go for a drive. Let's get started. Okay, 1968 Shelby GT500KR. Now this car is equipped with dark blue metallic LeMans stripes. The 68s did not come with stripes from the factory. That was a dealer installed option, but they look right at home on this car. Clearly the LeMans stripes are kind of an iconic styling feature of the original Shelbys and very popular amongst our clients. The 68 Shelby differed a lot visually from the 67 Shelby, so I'll point out some of the differences here. The front end is completely different. It was a unique front fascia for 1968, 4 different parts. It has a different grille, rectangular fog lamps, the Shelby lettering on the upper part of the fascia, and the hood is different. The scoops are close to the very front, and the hood is also louvered, ostensibly for heat extraction. We have really good control of engine temps. It's really not necessary, but it is an authentic styling element. The hood had a blackout panel on the very back edge of it. The fender and the quarter panel changed from 1967 because of the addition of the side marker lamps and reflectors, which was a regulatory requirement in 1968. The Cobra Jet picked up unique badging. We've emulated that with our Cobra Jet 5.0 badge. The original one was Cobra Jet 428. GT500KR had a different side stripe with a unique font. We think because it was too long with the original font, it wouldn't have fit on the fender. So we think that's why they went to a different font for the KR only. The lower side scoop is unique because of the quarter panel being different, but the upper side scoop is the same as the 67 Shelby. Deck lid is the same as the 67 Shelby, as are the tail lamp extensions. Tail lamp panel is unique. This is actually an applique. This argent painted panel is an applique that goes over the factory 68 Mustang tail lamp panel, and the tail lamps themselves are from a 1965 Thunderbird. So those were obviously available in the Ford parts bin back in 1968, and probably a more economical solution than the unique 67 tail lamps that were used by Shelby. The Cobra Jet also gets a unique fuel cap emblem to call out the Cobra Jet engine, and the Shelby badging across the back of the deck lid, which is different from 67. There was a small badge on the left-hand side of the deck lid. So, there's certain styling cues that are very unique and identify the 68 from the 67. Just a matter of which one you prefer. I think they're both really nicely done. So this car is equipped with the optional Nappa leather interior, and this is a Porsche leather. It's a navy. Personally, I really like color in the interior for a 60s car. It's just so period correct. I mean, nowadays, everything's gray or brown or tan, which is fine, but I think the monochrome color in the interior is really sporty and it's unique and it fits the design aesthetic from the 1960s. So, of course, this being a modern leather, it's got all of the robustness that you would expect from a modern material, the sun loading capability, the abrasion resistance. So it's very tough, durable, but it feels great and it smells great. So it's a really nice place to be on the interior of one of these cars. This car is also equipped with contrast stitching, which is nice. It just helps to give a little bit of an accent to the interior. It has the walnut inlays. This is genuine quarter cut walnut veneer, and it's really a nice look, very similar to the imitation wood that was used on the original car. 68 Shelbys have a unique dash badge, Cobra Jet badge, and this car is equipped with the navy nylon loop carpet, which was very similar to the original. And this client also opted for the premium sound system, so you get upgraded speakers with separate tweeters and woofers in the front, and there's a 720 watt Class AB amplifier in the back with a 10-inch subwoofer. Sounds nice. Let's go for a drive. A lot of people ask us, how do the cars drive? They would like an explanation of how they drive. How can I communicate that in a video? I will try. So the first thing that I'll do is just the startup, and I'll leave the door open so you can hear the engine. You just kind of get a sense of how it sounds, how the car sounds, and that's really important. Just get that nice little kind of fluffle sound from the exhaust. Inside the car, you can hear the exhaust. It's not intrusive, but it's there. And that's the important part of the character, is the exhaust sound. In an automobile, there's good noises and there's bad noises. And you want to eliminate or dampen the bad noises and accentuate the good noises. So we've done an awful lot of work on the exhaust to really get it dialed in. This car is equipped with the 10R80 automatic. We use the factory shifter because it is electronically integrated with the transmission. It also has a really good feel, and that's important. All the controls that you interact with have to feel good and give you the appropriate feedback. Car's not overly stiff. We're not chasing numbers in terms of the vehicle performance. We're really kind of going for an overall balance between ride and handling. The car is designed to be a street-driven car. It can put up some great numbers of the track, but it's not going to win any skid pad comparisons. It's not really stiff, and it's just not set up that way. I mean, it could be configured that way if someone wanted to do that, but it's not the way that we set them up from the factory. We do set them up to be, comfortable in daily use. And also you have to recognize that not all parts of the country or the world have smooth roads like we have in Florida. You have to accommodate for that. So the KR is equipped with a 5-liter supercharged Coyote engine. This engine puts out 710 horsepower and 610 pounds-feet of torque, which is a lot. But the thing about this engine is that in normal driving, you really don't even know that you have that kind of power because it behaves so normally. There isn't a trade-off for that extra power. You don't lose low-speed drivability or idle quality or anything like that. So it can be deceptive. It's just when you really get into the throttle, which I can't do right now because I'm behind the camera car, it's when you notice it. And in the supercharged car, things happen really fast. The natural aspirated car is quite powerful itself, but the supercharged car is just amazing. It's really fast, scary fast. Something to think about maybe when you're making the decision between naturally aspirated and supercharged. Certainly do not need the extra power of the supercharged car driving on public roads. I mean, the way that you would typically use the car 99% of the time. The suspension is firm, but not overly stiff. There's a certain amount of, I'll say, visceral feel. It's a direct connection that you have with the car through the controls. The steering is hydraulically assisted, so it has really good feel. The brakes are 4-wheel disc, and they're also power assisted. They're very responsive. You get a real sense of security from the brakes. You do feel the engine. Our engine mounts are pretty stiff. They don't dampen out all the vibration of the engine. It's not like a Mercedes or Lexus at all. It's more raw, but that is kind of the character of the car. It is a muscle car, and it fits. People ask, what modern car would you compare it to? It's really difficult because there isn't really any direct comparison. Acceleration, oh yeah, it's on par with some of the fastest accelerating cars that you can buy. Being a large displacement supercharged V8 engine, torque is instantaneous. It's so responsive. I always feel when I drive a 60s Mustang, it feels like an old horse that's just really tired and wants to go back to the barn. And you want the horse to go gallop, but he doesn't want to gallop because he's just I'm really old and I'm really tired and I've been doing this a long time. And I just want to go back to the barn, and it's So this old Mustang is creaky and groany, and it just doesn't want to go, and it feels heavy, which is interesting. It's lighter than this. Our car is several hundred pounds heavier because there's so much more stuff in it, but our car feels so much lighter. It's power to weight. It's the way that the suspension is set up. The Revology Mustang feels poised. It just feels like it's like ready to go, like it's just ready to pounce. It's a great feeling to have. It's just a responsive feeling. You kind of feel like you can just go in any direction you need to go at any time. That's good. It gives you confidence, and confidence is important for a car to be fun to drive. It allows you to explore its limits if you're confident. You know, modern cars have gotten so refined that they've lost the character. I remember when the 1991 Acura NSX came out. It was hailed as this breakthrough exotic because now you had an exotic car that you could drive every day. Prior to that, cars like Ferraris and Lamborghinis are very, very high-strung and not reliable and very expensive to repair. But the NSX showed that even a supercar could be reliable everyday transportation. And people drove NSXs 200,000 plus miles like they would an Accord. What it didn't have was character. You know, it didn't really speak to you driving down the street. I mean, it might as well have been driving an Accord. And that's something that's different about these cars. Even if you're just driving 25 miles an hour through your neighborhood, you feel special because of the sound and the feel that you get from the car. It's special at any speed, and that's unique, and that's important. That subjective feeling that you get from a car is really, really important. Much more so than the numbers, because the numbers are all so good these days. Cars are so much more competent than the roads on which we drive them. Chasing a number just doesn't make sense. So I hope that was helpful. Really, the only way to know how the cars drive is to come and drive one. And we're working on getting some cars out into the field closer to potential customers so that we can make them more accessible for test drives. And I think that will really help. I highly recommend you drive the car to really understand it. That's the only way to truly appreciate it. But I hope this was helpful.